Hey y'all, good afternoon. It is Thursday, and it's your girl Melissa with some folks.
Hey everyone, it's Pauline. How you guys doing?
What's going on? Really?
That's Charlie and Lucy.
Wow. What's going on? It's Mo. How y'all doing?
We were talking about God's
Recording.
love.
Recording because, we were having a great conversation this morning a little bit earlier while we were drinking coffee. And what were we talking about?
God's love.
God's love.
People seeing.
We were, kind of seeing, it was like a quote we kind of read yesterday. How, like, when you really, like, truly love, it's like looking through, like, God's eyes pretty much, because you embrace the imperfection and everything, and you just love unconditionally. So that was pretty much
The gist of it.
I think a lot of times, to look at a situation or a person through God's love, the way God would look at them, I think it's easier. If you make up your mind and that is your intention, then it becomes easier not to look. We've all met people that they'll look at a situation and they see the bad in it automatically. Mm-hmm. And in every situation and in every person, if you could look for the good, look for the good in everything.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I think that, so when I was in college and thinking about going to further my education to get my PhD, my thesis was going to be related to love and the different perspectives of love. And I think part of that was due to just different experiences with friends and family members, and seeing how different, the huge variance between what people consider as love and what that looks like to everyone. So I think that when we're talking about God's love, you've got to define it, and it's different for every person. So if you're like, oh, well, I love this person, and you feel like it's not being reciprocated in the manner that you want it to be, but that person feels like, oh, I love them too. They're seeing it through their God's lens. You're seeing it through your God's lens if you're intentional with it. So I think it's kind of essential to define what that is for each person and come to like kind of a common ground so you can work around it when you see the contrast or conflict in any situation.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too has to do with, like, it starts internally. Like, you got to be able to, like, love yourself, like, embrace all the flaws, or what people might consider flaws or the imperfections or whatever. So you got to be able to look in the mirror every day and be okay with what you see, and if you're not okay with it, make the improvements that you need to. But yeah, you have to be okay with yourself in order for you to, like, really embrace, like, the world and everybody around you. So
Why do you feel like it's essential to do internal work prior to external work?
I think internally you just make the process a lot more, it make the process of you embracing the world a lot more enjoyable. So, like, the whole thing of embracing the journey and not the destination. So that's what it is. So once you really work on the internal and, like, get where you need to be internally, while you're going through the world, or while you're, coming across people and situations, you'll be able to, like, really look at it and embrace the failures, or, like, the lessons or whatever, the imperfections that might come your way, or, like, the imperfections that you see in people. So you'll be able to, like, really embrace it, and you can love at a distance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I found in life, looking internal, sometimes, in my life, I've had situations and people that, I wasn't too happy with at first, and I had to stop and internally, first of all, ask myself, why does this person annoy me? And just be truthful with myself.
For sure.
Is it them? Is it me? what can I do? You're always talking about that, Missy, making the situation better, becoming a little bit better with the situation. And I always try to look and ask myself, what about that person? Can I name one thing about that person that I like or admire in that person?
Yeah.
And a lot of times once you start, the minute you make up that decision to do that, I've asked myself that, not only do I think of one thing, I just go on a roll of different things about that person, and you know, at the end of it, I look at that person a little bit different.
I love
So I think
I love
looking
That's
internal,
true.
Yeah.
assessing yourself,
Yeah.
a lot of people look too much out there
Yeah.
instead of in here.
Yeah.
You know, you're the only one that can make you happy.
Yeah.
It has to be a decision that you make.
That so reminds me of, I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and via text, and I got kind of like a download, okay, Luz, of just some information related to what she said. And the concept was called misinterpreted art. You know, and when I think about that, I'll actually read what was kind of provided to me about the concept.
Okay.
But when I think about misinterpreted art, it's all got to do with perspective and how you view something. So what you were just talking about, generally you make a judgment of a situation, and it tends to be on a negative side. So what you're doing, you're bringing that sense of hope of feeling a little bit better about the situation, finding the beauty in the initially misinterpreted art. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Misinterpreted art. So this is what I wrote. It says, is it not an art to see the beauty in the misinterpreted? Is it not the most admirable thing to love the lack of love? Is it not the most difficult to see past the unpleasantry of it? Is it not an art to revision, to envision the most fanciful sights of sights? Is it not at the core of who I made you to be? Isn't misinterpreted art not the most magnificent fault? So, yeah, I think it was, for me, just seeing it from a totally different perspective, the beauty in it.
Yeah. And I think too, like just like with the whole misinterpreted art, I think like when you look at it, all art is kind of like misinterpreted, because like it's based off of whoever's like perspective, or like, you know, your reaction to it, whether it's like, you know, a movie or like a book or poetry or, you know, a song. It's however you're feeling about it, and you can look at life that way too. I mean, it's life or creation or earth is pretty much like, you know, God's, you know, creation, or the universe is art.
Yeah.
So, you know, any and everything, or
She gotta go potty, y'all.
living situations, living beings, like, you know, everything in it, it's art.
Yeah. We're gonna pause for a second. All right, y'all, we're back. Sorry about that. Lucy and Charlie had to go outside to go to the bathroom.
You know, one of the things too, I was sitting over here thinking while we were talking, the book that I'm reading right now by Humble the Poet. One of the things he was talking about was how when you bring, he was pretty much talking about like when you bring like fun, the people that bring fun to life, that, you know, seek fun, or the people that receive fun.
Sure.
So it's the same thing, I believe, with like love. So like people that bring love, or the people that receive love.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's it's one of the first, if not second, laws of like the universe and stuff. You know, give and to receive.
Yeah.
So
I think that's like just what you're attracting, and as you go through life and different experiences in relationships, you learn different levels of love too. You know, so it's like wine; it just keeps get better and better and better, and then even the, you know, partnerships, the friendships, the relationships, work, personal, all aspects with strangers. You're talking about fun, bringing it to just your daily anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's more enriched interactions and connections with people. So
And then it's like when like the whole concept of like seeing with God's eyes or through God's eyes, it's, you know, I mean, it might sound like a religious concept, but it's really like more so when you know, every religion on earth had talked already about like we were made in God's image or whatever. So when the whole concept of seeing through God's eyes is, you know, looking at everything and seeing, you know, all the imperfections and seeing everything and like literally, you know, without judgment and
Yeah.
knowing, you know, that it's serving a purpose, even if you don't know that purpose.
for sure.
So, you know, just embracing that and letting it be and being okay with that.
Yeah, that's a great practice. Everything is just is what it is. We were talking about, I think it was with you. Luz,
You don't want nothing.
go lay down. I just gave you treats. I just let you outside. You're good, honey. She's like, Mommy, take me for a walk. Go lay down. Go.
She just wants somebody to pet her.
So, the dogs are spoiled, y'all. Don't let them fool you. I promise you. What was I talking about? Oh, like the perspectives. I think it all goes. Perspective is
Yeah.
everything, you know, because you can look at the candle right here and see it from. There's three of us. We can have three different perspectives, and you know, as long as you're just taking it for what it is, you know, my perspective is a candle that's been lit before. You know, mine, you might see it as a candle that I need to get a new candle. That thing looks burnt and that thing looks like whatever, you know, and that's your perspective, and that might not feel great.
No, I think about how good it smells, and at nighttime, you know, taking a shower and putting a nice movie on and lighting the candle.
Isn't that
Right.
wonderful?
Pretty
Yeah.
nice.
That's like a daydream about, you just made a whole beautiful scenario and scene. And doesn't that feel so much better than it being an old candle that needs to be replaced?
Right.
It's
Of
just
course.
about perspective for every single thing, for all the events that we go through in life. So I think, you know, you were speaking about religion, and I think all religions are based off of spirituality. That's the foundation of every single religion, and the different Christ, Buddha, what have you, over these different religions played, you know, very significant roles in regards to spreading, enhancing the understanding, the experience of God's love. That's why they were there. That's why there are currently spiritual teachers. That's why there are these different experiences, dynamics, connections, soulmates, all these different things to you kind of expand God by Him experiencing His, you know, expansion and love through us. So, you know, it's kind of cool that you know, we all essentially have the same purpose, right? Love God's love, experience God's love, and however that resonates with you,
Yeah.
loving on people.
And passing it on.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
I mean, it's magnetic. So I mean, like you never forget like kindness or, you know, pure love. Like, you know, somebody showed you that they didn't have to, and they weren't expecting anything in return. So, you know, once you experience something like that, it just make you want to, like, you know, give it back and return it. So it's just, you know, it's kind of an
That's
affection.
great.
So.
That's good.
So
Do you
you-
have an example? I want an example from each of y'all.
So do you want to give me back my love?
Look. Do you have an example of that? Both of y'all.
Example of what?
That love that he's talking about.
Like just the kindness from like a stranger.
Kindness from a stranger, very unexpected. It was something that you looking back right now in your spirituality, like, there was some divine purpose in that event.
When I was probably 6 or 7, and I was learning to spell my name. I might have not been that old. And my cousin Roland was teaching me and my 2 sisters all how to spell our name, and he was come to our house every night. And I remember that he used to bring me Googlers only for me. And that was so special. He didn't want my sisters, they weren't allowed to share. He told my grandmother that they were only for me. And I'll never forget the kindness. I was young, and my whole life that meant a lot to me. That made a real impression on me at that age. You don't realize what someone showing you kindness, what that will do. You may show a child a kindness, or a person in a grocery store, anywhere, but you never know. You think it stops at that person, but my cousin, the kindness that he showed me, I have tried to be an example of that kindness my entire life. I've tried to do things with children that was in my life, family members, other children that was not, grown-ups, that made a real impression of showing love my whole life and will forever. And I have 3 children, and I've placed that kindness in them as a result, because I know how much that meant to me. So always teaching them, you never know what your kindness means to another person. They may go on and be kind or do God knows what. It goes on. It passes. It just doesn't end at that person.
That's wonderful.
That's my example.
Very cool.
Okay.
What you have?
Shoot, I was trying to think something like that, but the only one I could, come right off the top, I want to say maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I was driving and I ran out of gas. So I didn't have any cash on me or anything like that, and I was trying to think of a way to, put gas in my car pretty much and get home. And this lady, she was like from somewhere, but she didn't really speak much English and stuff. So she pulled over and asked me if I needed help. I'm like, I just ran out of gas. I don't have no money right now, and I don't have a gas tank. So yeah, I know.
And I don't have a gas tank.
And I don't have a gas tank. So she took me to the gas station. She told me she had like a gas can or whatever. Just needed a few dollars. So she took me to the gas station. Give me her can. Give me a few dollars. I put it in my car, and went back to the car, started it, and never saw her again. But yeah, just something random like that. So yeah,
It's crazy. These
How do you think-
acts, how essentially they're small, but they're so significant.
Because I was gonna say, how did that affect you? Have you thought about that since then? How does that?
Oh
how
yeah,
has that
like
affected you?
I mean, honestly, I don't really like to speak on like stuff that I do for people, but like I've stopped multiple times, like on the highway when I've seen somebody like broken down on the side of the road. Do you need any help? You all right? You need a hand? Like help them change a tire. Drop them off somewhere. Like I've done stuff like that multiple times just because of that.
Because of that.
Yeah,
As a
because
result
of
of that lady stopping to
because
help
I
you.
know, I know, like sometimes we all just need that little extra.
You know what
hand
it feels
and
like?
stuff. Yeah, exactly. So
It's awareness. It
and
created
all
awareness. too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It made me pay attention to my
Yeah,
surroundings,
yeah.
and sometimes all you need is that one person.
Exactly.
And sometimes, like we're so busy with our daily lives and
For
stuff
sure.
like that. We just moving, going, or whatever, and we don't see people on the side of the road. People that are like asking for money. We don't see people by the stores asking for money. Like we're just so busy going in and out. Even if you don't have money, just saying, "I'm sorry. Hey, how you doing? I'm sorry, I don't have anything. Have a good one." Like things like that are huge.
Yeah.
And people just we don't do that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
for sure.
Do you have one you wanted to
I
share?
do. And I think the most, I guess, present one would be that vase over there that's on my end table. So, this is when I was working in Decatur, Atlanta, at a plasma collection facility. I was the center director there. And I was not in a great place, like with work. I wasn't all that happy. And now I know, like, what you are presented with, essentially is your mirror or what have you. So this was some internal stuff that I had to work through at this time. It was very dark for me. It was very depressing. So I was kind of talking to a best friend of mine, and I think through text message down there, and just letting him know, kind of venting about how down I was. And I think that, I don't know if he told, but a friend, a mutual friend, I think later that week, maybe even the following day, made me this vase thing, and completely obsessed with like the beach or what have you. So it was very thoughtful, and it reminded me of the same thing as you, like that sense of kindness. And I don't know, again, if it was this person knew about kind of what I was going through, but I think I put that energy out in the universe, and then there was a shift. So, yeah, I think the universe, God reacts to what energy we're kind of putting off.
Yeah. And I think too,
No, you better not bring it over here.
Oh,
No,
I was just gonna show it and share.
no.
That's
I
fine.
could take a picture of it and, attach it. So
That's fine.
there you
it was good.
It's a good
So
idea.
yeah, spirituality, looking back at events, I
Yeah.
can see so many.
go. No, I was just looking back on it. It's kind of like I wrote kind of something about it. I mean, I do kind of read. A lot of my writing is geared towards that. But one of the poems that kind of come to mind is a poem called Hitchhike, where I'm pretty much like comparing life to like a highway, like, and us as hitchhikers, like, just I've done it before, so having that experience when you're going through, just like you're going through life, people gonna pass you by, nobody's gonna stop by, and you're gonna get frustrated, you're gonna feel like, nobody cares, it's a cold world, and, when you least expect it, somebody's gonna pull over and offer you that kindness, and you will never forget that. So, like, it's just that just made me remember that.
It's like you're actually remembering or recalling the essence of who you are when you experience something like that. It's like, God is pulling a string connected to you. Hey, wake up, you do have this faith. I'm right here. And it just wakes you up a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, it's the universe or God's way of saying, like I see you, like I haven't forgotten, like I know. Yeah, like I see you. So like, regardless of like what you're going through, or like, where you've been so far, like just know, like, that's not the end goal. That's not the destination. It's just, you're in it right now.
Right.
So
I think that, I'm really, truly thankful that we got to come spend a little time with you all today and talk about God. And I know, spending time with these two, that God and spirituality is the most important thing to us, to having a peaceful life. And we hope to share more of these experiences with you all. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Sometimes when you don't necessarily see the hope in your situation, just think about, what would it look like to take one little tiny step above where you are with your current situation? What does that look like? What kind of words would properly describe that? And what does that feel like to you inside? And see if you can place yourself there just for a little bit. And if you start doing that act kind of over and over in the different situations, day to day, you'll see things start to always be from kind of this beautiful aspect or light.
okay. I mean, what I would say is everything is temporary. So
For sure.
no matter how crazy it looks right now, just know this is gonna be temporary. We're gonna be talking about this in a couple of years or whatever. Just like we're talking about other stuff that happened a few years ago. So you know, everything is temporary. So embrace it.
For sure.
Take care, everyone, and when you can, the next opportunity when you can do something nice for someone, I challenge you, try it. See how you feel when you walk away, when you look in the mirror that night, when you're brushing your teeth. Peace out. Be kind.
Bye. Be blessed.